Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you just fine.
Thank you. Okay, I think now is the time. You ready? Okay. Let us have 10 minutes meditation before the Sutta study and discussion. Yep. Please find your comfort posture. And relax the body. Perhaps before you come in, you're doing other things that require a lot of thoughts. Now breathing in gently. Observing how the in-breath flowing through the nostril. And breathing out, release the tense of the body. Breathing in gently. Breathing out, release the tension of the body. If you find your clothing too tight and in comfort, you may loosen it a little bit and sit comfortably. If you hear the sound around, just hearing. This is the external sound that touch the ear faculty. Noting it and come back to the breath. Not going to the story of the hearing. Come back to the breath. That way we protect the mind to be concentrated on our breathing. Breathing out, relax the body and release the tension. You may release it through the sitting cushion. Relax your mind. Now no one is disturbing you. It is your rest time. Put down all the other chores. That's none of your business. Just sitting relaxing. Observing the breathing in gently. Feel the body, how it feels when you breathe in gently.
Better.
Keeping that for another 10 minutes. This is a time for yourself. Be kind for yourself. Breathing gently and mindfully. Don't worry about I'm not perfectly doing it well in meditation. It is fine. I'm trying. I'm trying. Taking care of myself. So breathing in gently and release all the tension physically and relaxing on my mind. Now is the time, the end of our sitting session. Take 3 deep breaths. And you may open your eyes when you are ready. We'll start the study, the Sutta study this afternoon. Hi everyone, good afternoon. Let us start with Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Do anyone know this afternoon which text are we going to discuss? Okay, we're going to discuss Bhesajjakkhandaka, the chapter of medicine. Here in the link, in the chat room, I shared the link of the chapter. You can open it. So I'm going to give you some work in this session. Okay, firstly, why I chose this chapter for this session, because in this wasa we're talking about walking on the path of liberation. So how to walk on the path of liberation? I think it is important, like in support of the practice for liberation. So it's important for us to understand the Buddha intention of laying down the rule for the monastic member and how we can support the monastic member. And the medicine is included as one of the 4 requisites that is needed as basic for the monastic member. And we can learn from this chapter of medicine that why medicine is included. It's not only to cure the disease, but more than that. So here, first, I would like to give a brief introduction about this Bhesajjakkhandaka. It is a root text under Theravada Vinaya, presented in the 6th chapter, chapter number 6 of Mahavagga. So the file that I share in the chat room is from Ajahn Brahmali translation. It talks about allowable medicine and the medical treatment. Not only the medicine, but also the medical treatment that are approved by the Buddha. But this afternoon, we are going only to discuss about the allowable medicine, not the treatment, because I think we have no enough time for that. The medical treatment includes operation, surgery, a minor surgery, but have been performed during the Buddha time on his disciple. But we are not going to discuss in this session due to time constraint. So from this text, after I read it, I found the Buddha very much concerned with the physiological well-being of his disciples. But besides that, I also identify the four efforts of the Buddha in facilitating his disciple for the goal of enlightenment. Why I say so? Because there's an interconnection between the physiological well-being and psychological well-being. And according to the early Buddhist texts, they are significant and important for spiritual enlightenment. So firstly, what I want you to do here is, if you already download the file, have you downloaded the file? Okay, can you go to the first section? Okay, the first here, it discusses about the 5 tonics, right? So you see the first paragraph here. Let me see. Daniel Shanky, can you help me to read out the first paragraph?
Sure. Let's see. At one time, Buddha was staying at Sarwathi in the Jeta Grove, and the Pindika's monastery. And at that time, the monks were afflicted with autumn illness, and they could keep down neither kanji nor other food. As a result, they became thin, haggard, and pale, with veins protruding all over their body. The Buddha noticed this and asked Venerable Ananda why they were looking so sickly. Ananda told him. Then, while reflecting in private, the Buddha thought, what tonics might I allow the monks that are generally regarded as tonics, would serve as nourishment, but aren't considered substantial food? It then occurred to him, there are these 5 tonics: ghee, butter, oil, honey, and syrup, that are generally regarded as tonics, serve as nourishment, but aren't considered substantial food. Why don't I allow them these 5 tonics to be received and consumed before midday? In the evening, when the Buddha had come out from seclusion, he gave a teaching and then told the monks what he had thought. Should I keep going, Aya?
Okay, thank you, Danny. So now thank you very much for helping. So now we look at, you see the first line the Buddha say here, the next line. I'm sorry for that. I heard the noise. Moment, please. Okay, firstly, it talk about I allow these 5 tonics to be received and consumed before midday. Did you see? And then the second, the Buddha say I allow the 5 tonics to be received and consumed both before and after midday. So it is very much depends on the condition of the sickness of the students that the Buddha adjusts for that, for their needs, for those who are sick. And further, he say, I allow these fats as tonic: fish fat, bear fat, pig fat, donkey fat. Okay. And if you look further on the discussion of root medicines, I allow these medicinal roots: turmeric, ginger, sweet flag. Okay, there are numbers, quite numbers of them. And also bitter medicine from plants like neem tree, pointer gourd, Indian beech. Okay, so I would like to show you to discuss about a few of the topics which I found interesting. If you can go further to, section number 4 about the cattle urine. Let me see. Page number 8. Can you find that? Anyone have difficulty?
I don't see page numbers. I took the link from the email that goes directly to the Bhikkhuni Brahmalis.
Right. Let me share with you here.
You said number 4, the allowance for sugar.
Let me share with you here. Let me see. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
On the screen, you see? I allow you to give him the 4 filthy edible feces, urine, ash, and clay. So first, let's see. Okay, all good. Elaine, please. Can you help to read this one? At one time, Vermopilinda Vacha.
Okay, I'm just going to find it. Is that still in 4? I've got the allowance of sugar when the Buddha had stated.
No. Can you see my screen?
I will make it bigger. At one time, the Venerable Philandeva
Belinda
Cha,
Vacha.
Philadeva Cha had a certain disease. The doctor said he needed a heated concoction of oil. I allow the heated concoction of oil. They wanted to add alcohol to that concoction. I allow alcohol in the heated concoction of oil. Soon afterwards, the monks from the group of the 6 heated oil with too much alcohol. They drank it and they became drunk. You shouldn't drink heated oil with too much alcohol. If you do, you should be dealt with according to the rule. I allow you to drink heated oil if there is no discernible color, smell, or taste of alcohol. The monks had heated much oil with too much alcohol. They did not know what to do with it. I allow you to determine it for external use. Deva Cha had more heated oil, but there was no vessel for storing it. I allow 3 kinds of vessels, made of metal, made of wood, and made of fruit. At that time, Philandavacha had arthritis of the hands and the feet. I allow treatment through sweating. He did not get better. I allow sweating with herbs. He still did not get better. I allow heavy sweating. He still did not get better. I allow hemp water. He still did not get better. I allow a bathtub. Philandeva Cha had arthritis. I allow bloodletting. He did not get better. I allow bloodletting and receiving it in a horn. Philandeva Cha had cracked feet. I allow salve for the feet. He did not get better. I allow you to make foot salve. At that time, the monk was afflicted with abscesses. I allow surgery. They needed bitter water. I allow bitter water. They needed sesame seed paste. I allow sesame seed paste. They needed flour paste. I allow flour paste. They needed a dressing. I allow a dressing. The sore was itching. I allow you to sprinkle it with mustard seed powder. The sore festered. I allow you to fumigate it. Flesh was sticking out. I allow you to cut it with a razor. The sore did not heal. I allow oil for the sore. The oil dripped off. I allow a bandage and all treatments for sores. On one occasion, a certain monk was bitten by a snake. I allow you to give him 4 filthy edibles, feces, urine, ash, and clay. The monks thought, do they need to be received or not? They should be received if there is an attendant. If there isn't, I allow you to take them yourself and eat them. On occasion, a monk had drunk poison. I allow you to give him feces to drink. The monks thought, does this need to be received or not? I allow one who is excreting it to receive it. When he has received it, it doesn't need to be received again. On the occasion a monk was sick from a drug, I allow him to drink mud from a plow. On one occasion, a certain monk had indigestion. I allow him to drink lye. On one occasion, a certain monk suffered jaundice. I allow him to drink Chibuic myrobalan soaked in cattle urine. On one occasion, a monk suffered from skin disease. I allow you to make a scented ointment.
Thank you, Elaine.
Oops.
Thank you so much. So we pause here. So from here, you see so much allowance given by the Buddha just to treat the sickness, right? And many among them, like these days, we are using mostly the Western medicine. We never tried this. When I was in Burma in the meditation center last year, so the Sayadaw, he was soaking a fruit with the cow urine under the ground, you know. And then for us, we felt that this is like disgusting. But this was the medicine during the Buddha time. Perhaps we should try it. For example, like here, you see, on one occasion, a certain monk was bitten by a snake. The Buddha allowed him for 4 filthy edible, the feces, the urine, the ash, and the clay. Right? On one occasion, the monk had drunk poison. The Buddha allowed, give him feces to drink. And the monk asked, does it need to be received or not? The Buddha said, I allowed the one who is excreting it to receive it. When he has received it, it doesn't need to be received again. There are other type of medicine that the Buddha say need to be offered. For example, we are not allowed to collect any fruit that drop from the trees, even if it not belongs to anyone, like you are on the journey. You are not allowed. But then during the time of the famine, in the long journey, and the monk got very sick because of the long journey, no food and no one offer. And the Buddha say they are allowed to collect those fruits. And when they arrive the destination, if there are some, the lay people are there, and pass to the lay people and ask them to offer again. So this is allowed in certain circumstances where long journey and there's no one offer on the journey because there are not much people working on the same path. So there are exception. So in the same way, we can apply to today's condition. When you're traveling far, for example, you're flying to some other country, and if no assistant, no lay people there, and you're traveling, so by the circumstances, we might adjust that what is allowable, but not too loose. Remember that. Because the point here, why the Buddha opened this exception allowance is to keep those disciples can get survive for the practice. But the Buddha have very wise in balancing, not to get them into the sensual pleasure from the food. Yeah, just to keep them healthy. Okay. Here I would like to. It's good that we have discussion like part by part. Richard, please.
Thank you, Raya.
Yes.
Where it says there the edibles,
Mhm.
The four filthy edibles.
Yeah.
I was looking at the Pali. I don't see the word edible in there because it was a snake bite. I think they're talking about a compress that will help draw out the poison. So they'll take some cow feces, which is considered pure by the Vedic system, or cow's urine, or ash or clay, and put it over the bite, and to try to help draw the poison out. I think that's what they're saying. I don't think in that particular case it's edible because I don't find anything in the Pali there that says anything about edible.
Okay, let me have a look.
So it might be just some kind of mistake or something.
Moment, yeah.
I'm not saying they don't use cow's urine as an edible, like in that byrubellum fruit soaking, because they do. But I'm just talking about the feces, and you can see ash and clay and all that stuff. I think it's more like to make a compress.
Thanks. Let me check it. And the rest in the room also, you can try to look at it. In the if you go to view, then you can choose view the root text with translation line by line. Then you can look at the section number 4. Let us look together. Mm. Mm. So this Mahavikatani is refers to the incredibly disgusting thing. Okay. All right. Okay, in Pali, the Chattari Mahavikatani Datung. Chattari is 4. Mahavikatani is the disgusting thing. Datung is to give. So here we, as what Richard bring up, there's no the words for edible, but no worry. Let me check the commentary and I'll come back to you for that. Okay. I'm not sure if next week I would be the one here. Otherwise, I would suggest like if you could leave email address, then I could respond on that after I find the answer. What do you think? Like how I could, you know,
Oh,
explain to you
I-
later.
yeah, I don't think you need to spend a lot of time on it. I was just making a technical point. In terms of the Pali, there's nothing that says edible. Now, someone may have written in a commentary that they thought they're edibles, but that doesn't make it true. Commentaries sometimes are wildly outside the realm of Buddhist teaching. So I'm just saying that if you just look at that Pali there, what supposedly Buddha is saying, right? There's no word edible there. And it makes more sense that they were trying to draw the poison out with some kind of compress, like that. So
For apply on the skin, right?
yeah.
But urine,
just something
but
that you
urine,
apply.
but for urine, it does like, yeah, they drink for cure.
So it could have been a mixture. They may have mixed the cow dung, the urine, the ash, and the clay all together. You know what I mean? It doesn't say that they're for
Apply on the skin.
different doing it. You know what I mean? It may have been a mixture, and the people at the time who were familiar with those type of things would have known that he's talking about, okay, I'm allowing this compress of these 4 items. But anyway, that's just my interpretation based on my knowledge of Indian.
Thank you. I would like to check it out too for my knowledge.
But you can look it up. I don't want to waste the other people's time here. It was just a technical point. So anyway,
Okay.
thank
How
you.
about Ellen? Do you have any question? I cannot hear you, Ellen. Please unmute yourself.
I had several that possibly they'll be answered later on, but I'm just wondering in a remote monastery about cooking and saving medications and that, or cooking in the monastery. Also, it seems to me like we have to use our common sense according to the Dharma on like the
do you mean cooking
monks were
by
saying,
the lay steward in a monastery? Is it your question?
yes, lay people cooking and actually storing medicines and using more modern ones. So that I had a lot of questions. Perhaps they'll be, as Richard said, I don't want to hold you up, and they might be answered.
So
as you talk.
for store up the medicine, for example, if we talk about modern medicine, like Western medicine, store up the medicine, that is fine because that is not food, right?
Oh,
That's not food. The Buddha just don't want us to indulge in the sensual pleasure of eating too much food.
And if it's too handy, then makes
modern medicine, it's fine that you are not taking it as food. Besides, we talk about the food can be the tonics, right? During the Buddha time or even today, if we look at some research from America itself, there are quite a number of doctors that also initiate to treat the cancer patient with tonics rather than with the Western medicine. They found it's even better cure, like takes longer time. If you talk about the food as a tonic, it's allowed in the monastery in a sense that kept by the lay steward, but not kept by the Sangha, not like I'm the one keep the food, right? It's taken care by the steward, it's fine. And it is prepared by the steward, it's fine. Yeah, and it also depends on what time you consume that medicine. Different medicine you are allowed to consume at certain time. There are medicine that you are not allowed to consume at certain time, because they consider as something that you can full, you take it, you feel full. That's
Right.
medicine. Like for example, after solar noon, after lunch, solar noon, you allow for medicine like filter fruit juice without pops, so must be filter. That's called medicine for a day after solar noon, lunch up to the next day before dawn. That fruit juice, you can keep that once offered. But anyhow, everything that considered as medicine, a single roll must be offered by the lay steward. You are not never taking anything without being offered to you. Yeah, that's why the lay supporter and the kapia mean the assistant are so much important in the Sangha. And even in the Vinaya text is also mentioned about the kapia. For example, for a monk, the kapia would be a male assistant. For the nuns or bhikkhuni, the kapia will be a female assistant. And the kapia playing very important role to the Sangha member. Let me see some technical
Thank
problem
you.
here. A moment, please. Let me see this pop up. Okay. So even in the text, it's mentioned about when a bhikkhuni die, for example, for the bhikkhu the same. When before you die, you are clearing those things that belongs to you to share with other before you die. But even after you die, after the Sangha have a meeting, one portion of those remaining things of that particular bhikkhuni or bhikkhu shall be shared with the kapia, with the assistant. So the assistant relationship with that monastic member is very close. It's very close. Because without the kapia, it's so much difficult to keep the role. Yeah. Because you're not allowed to have anything without being offered. So the kapia is so important. Yes. Daniel, please.
Actually, I think Mima had her hand up first.
Oh, okay, Mima, please.
Thank you, Daniel.
No problem.
Thank you, Aya. Yeah, I wanted to go back to Richard's comment about the feces, urine, ash, and clay. I know in our culture, growing up, like if we scraped our knee and we were bleeding, we would burn something and use the ash and pack it onto the place that we couldn't stop the bleeding, and it would stop the bleeding. The ash and the clay, and I know people that actually bathe in the urine for medicinal purposes. So it makes sense to me that it would be external and not something that's ingested.
Thank you.
you, Aya.
Thank you. Perhaps it might be the translation issue. Yeah, I'm happy to know and to get some just sharing about this. Yeah, thank you so much. How about Daniel? Are you raising your hand?
I am.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I think for my own edification, just to sort of understand the backdrop to all this, because obviously I'm not super familiar with the Vinaya, is a lot of this around the fact that essentially monastics can't be preparing, storing, hanging on to their own food outside of especially at all, and can't be eating after noon. And so these exceptions are basically exceptions to those rules so that monastics can engage in some version of that for purposes of healing. Is that right?
So only for those who are sick have this allowance. Only sick. Yeah. And so even like we are sick, okay, then the allowance is that when you are sick, you can tell the steward or your kapia that I need certain thing as a medicine. You can tell without they asking you, yeah, if you need anything. Because normally without the steward ask, Aya, do you need anything? You cannot tell what you need. But only when you are sick, you can tell what you need. Yeah. And if you do not have kapia, do not have steward outside the country where you travel, or within your country as well, then what you allowed to cook for your sickness is only those things that considered as a lifelong medicine. Yeah, limited to those things. Other than that, you are not allowed to cook for yourself as a medicine, even you are sick. Yeah.
I see.
You're welcome. So let us move on. To look at this. You have a question? Okay. So here, in reply to the question of Elaine just now, here has mentioned, if you look at the section number 5 on the screen that I shared, it talk about discussion of the prohibition against storing indoor and etc.
And is the idea, Aya, that monks shouldn't be hoarding up resources, essentially?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, that
For
makes sense.
things like other than food, even like you have those material things, for example, that you needed to use for preaching the Dharma or anything, just enough. You sometimes with the luggage when we move going to other country to study or anything, then you do not want to bring many things in your luggage. It's lightest the best. But also you see this body is a burden. When I moved from Hermitage to here for support this Sunday program, and when I prepare my robe and my sangati, my double robe, and then I think I do not want to bring the sleeping bag. Then you know this body, if you not bring the sleeping bag, got cold and get sick, you're not good, can sleep at the night. You have to bring blanket, you have to wear the socks. So even the device you use for preach Dharma or anything, just one enough. Don't keep the storage. Don't keep the storage. And there is one story in the text, why the Buddha laid down the rule that only the 3 rows for the Sangha member. In the past, when the lay people, the devotees, offer the monks a lot of clothes, the fabric clothes for them. Oh, when they get so much offering, they carry all the clothes by on their shoulder everywhere, so much until they cannot walk. When the Buddha see that, Buddha say, oh, okay, it's enough. So set out the rule, 3 robes enough, no more than that. You are tied overhaul the body until you cannot walk. That's too much. Mima, please.
So then, Aya, would it be appropriate, like if I'm traveling and I see monks like at the airport or somewhere, is it appropriate to ask them if they need anything to be able to offer, or is that not appropriate?
Sure, this is a good act, good action. Yeah,
Okay.
you may ask them.
Okay.
Yeah, even like after solar noon, if they need anything, you do not know if they need medicine or anything that will be helpful for them.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you, Aya.
most welcome. And sadhu for that good thought.
Thank you.
Like when I travel coming to the US for the first time, it takes like more than 24 hours, right, on the flight. You have transit in Taipei. Before, a few days before, I start thinking, how do I know when they cross to different country. How do I know what is the time, and is it before lunchtime? How do I know should I take the meal? And they're not allowed to open the window, right? The attendants on the flight, they say no to open the window when flying. Then I think, okay, the most easier way. Ask the attendant, you are serving for breakfast or for lunch? Is it what time now? Based on your the country time. Then we travel like that. Then it happened like for that more than 24 hours. I only have my one breakfast, the porridge. After that, the time is not suitable. They're already after solar noon. Yes, but that's fine. You are not going to die, just for a couple of days. And some people, they misunderstand about lunch. They think about when I'm in Malaysia, what's the lunch time? Depends on the month, right? Perhaps it's 12 noon is solar noon. But came to the US, you can check online. What's the solar noon today in San Francisco? They will tell you it's 1:05. Then you know the solar noon. You should not take any food after 1:05. So when you go, every country is different. Depends on the location geographically, right? And always can check, not like always 12 o'clock. Yeah, depend on the location. Okay. Shall we move on? Now we're looking at section number 5 on my screen, if you can see. Discussion of the prohibition against storing indoor and etc. Wandering on, the Buddha eventually arrived at Rajagaha, where he stayed in the bamboo grove, the square century. Soon afterward, the Buddha had a stomachache. Venerable Ananda thought, curiously, when the Buddha had a stomachache, he was comfortably after drinking the 3/4 pungent congee. He then asked for sesame seeds, rice, and mung beans, stored them indoors himself, cooked them himself indoors, and brought them to the Buddha, saying, "Sir, please drink the 3/4 pungent congee." When Buddhas know what is going on, sometimes they ask and sometimes not. They know the right time to ask and where and when not to ask. But Buddha asks when it is beneficial. Otherwise, he will not ask. For Buddhas are incapable of doing what is unbeneficial. So Buddha questioned the monks for 2 reasons only: to give a teaching to them or to lay down a training rule. So he said to Ananda, "Ananda, where does this kanji come from?" Ananda told him. Then the Buddha rebuked him. "It is not suitable, Ananda. It is not proper. It is not worthy of a monastic. It is not allowable. It is not to be done. How could you be so indulgent? What's been stored indoors in the monastery is unallowable. What's been cooked indoor in the monastery is unallowable." So here refers to the Ananda cooked by himself is unallowable. This will affect people's confidence. After that, the Buddha give teaching and address the monk. Say, you should not eat what has been stored in house in a monastery, what been cooked indoor in a monastery, or what you have cooked yourself. If you do, you commit an offense of wrong conduct. If you eat what has been stored indoor in a monastery, cooked indoor in a monastery, and cooked by yourself, you commit 3 offenses of wrong conduct. Then, if you eat what has been stored indoor in a monastery, cooked indoor in a monastery, but cooked by others, you commit 2 offenses of wrong conduct. If you eat what has been stored indoor in a monastery, but cooked outside, yet cooked by yourself, you commit 2 offenses of wrong conduct. If you eat what has been stored outside, but cooked indoor in a monastery, and cooked by yourself, you commit 2 offenses of wrong conduct. If you eat what has been stored indoor in a monastery, but cooked outside, and cooked by others, you commit 1 offense of wrong conduct. If you eat what has been stored outside, but cooked indoor in a monastery, yet cooked by others, you commit 1 offense of wrong conduct. If you eat what has been stored outside and cooked outside, but cooked by yourself, you commit 1 offense of wrong conduct. If you eat what has been stored outside and cooked by others, there's no offense. When there's no offense, if you eat what has been stored outside and cooked by others, there's no offense. When the monks heard that the Buddha had prohibited cooking, being afraid of wrongdoing, they did not reheat. But the Buddha said, I allow you to reheat what's already been cooked. At that time, Bhesajjakkhandaka was short of food. People brought salt, oil, rice, and fresh food to the monastery. The monks stored it outdoors, but it was eaten by vermin and stolen by thieves. Then the Buddha said, I allow you to store food indoors. The monks stored the food indoors, but it was cooked outside. They were surrounded by scrap eaters, and the monk ate in fear. Then the Buddha said, I allow cooking indoors. Because of the famine, the attendant took more for themselves and give less to the monks. Means the person who prepared the food, they took more for themselves and they offer less for the monks. Then the Buddha said to the monk, I allow you to cook. I allow you to store food indoor in a monastery, to cook indoors in monastery, and to cook yourself. Do you have any thought on that? Richard, please.
Thank you. Yeah, people may not like what I'm about to say, but this is a good example. People misunderstand. The Buddha did not know everything. And there are many times like this when he creates a rule and sometimes he has to modify that rule, or sometimes he even drops the rule completely. So here's an example where he made these rules. You can't cook indoor, you can't save food indoor, and all these different things. But in the end, he got, well, I allow you, because trying to survive and do things other ways, like here in a time of famine and stuff, when people don't have enough food and things like that, you know, it's just not practical. So, but what a Buddha does know is how to achieve nirvana and how to help all others achieve nirvana. That he knows thoroughly and completely, and he knows many other things as well, but not every single thing about every single problem and things like that in life. That's a total misunderstanding. And Buddha says that he doesn't claim any such knowledge like that. That's similar to what the Jain leader Mahavir was claiming, that he knew everything about all things, all times, right now, at every moment. So it doesn't really work like that. And again, this is a very good example of that. You know, he starts making rules, but in the end, he drops all those rules and goes back to just allowing them to do
Thank
this,
you, Richard.
but you know, but with some control. Anyway, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you,
That's my
Richard.
opinion.
And I think initially the Buddha laid out the rule just by general, for the circumstances general, this is the rule. But things always change because we see the condition always change, is anicca, right? And then the Buddha also need to make adjustment based on the changes of the conditions. Yeah. So when famine come, so he gives some allowable on the rule. And but this allowable, you see the principle there, not for indulgence, but to survive, to keep on the practice. Just to keep on the practice. This is the principle, not anything else, but for the keep on the practice for Nibbana. Right? Why he adjusts for them able to practice. Yeah. And initially you might feel maybe don't know if you're aware about that. Initially at the very beginning, the Buddha, he himself and the Sangha are taking 3 meals a day. But later on, after some practice, he found that, okay, the first adjustment is that when the monk go at the night with a thunderstorm at the nighttime to a house of the lady who are pregnant, and then the pregnant lady got shocked, thought that it's ghost. Why? The monk got wet all the clothes in the darkness with the thunder, and she got shocked when she opened the door and see the black shadow there, thought it's ghost, and caused the lady miscarriage. So because of that, the Buddha said, no, at the nighttime, no need to go for Pindapat. and then 2 meals, breakfast and lunch. But later on, when the Buddha practiced meditation, and he found, oh, even 1 meal a day, the body felt more light and can practice meditation better, that condition better. And then he advised the monk, like he's not like make it compulsory, but it's on their choice. He advised that he found this beneficial by taking only 1 meal or single meal a day, and encourage the monks to do the same, encourage them. That's why in Buddhism, there is a text that which recorded there are, I think, 12 or 13 type of Dhutanga that you can practice. Besides that, Patimokkha, the Vinaya rule that we keep, the monastic member can further go for Dhutanga practice. You can choose one of them, or you can choose more than one of them. And among those, one of them is to take a single meal a day. Yeah. Another rule is a single meal per seat. For example, if I receive the order and I'm sitting here having my lunch, if I stand up away from my cushion, from my seat, I should not come back and eat further. I should not go to the table and collect some more fruit and come back and sit to continue. No, only per seat. Before you away from your seat, you should finish your food like that, even before noon. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Here, this is a good example. Number 6 sections, receiving what has been picked up. On one occasion, a number of monks who had completed the rainy season residence in Kasi were traveling to Rajagaha to visit the Buddha. While on their way, they did not receive sufficient food, whether fine or coarse. Yet there was much fruit, but no attendant to offer it. When the monks arrived at Rajagaha, they were exhausted. They went to the bamboo grove, approached the Buddha, bowed, and sat down. Seeing it is the custom for Buddhas to greet newly arrived monks, he said to them, I hope you are keeping well, monks. I hope you are getting by. I hope you are not tired from traveling. And where have you come from? And then the monk told the Buddha, we are keeping well, Venerable Sir. We are getting by. And they told him what had happened. Soon after, the Buddha gave a teaching and addressed the monks. If there is no attendant, but you see fruit, I allow you to pick up yourself. You should then carry it until you see an attendant, put it on the ground, and have it received. You may then eat it. I allow you to receive what you have picked up. On one occasion, a certain Brahmin had obtained fresh sesame seed and fresh honey. He thought, why don't I give it to the Sangha of monks headed by the Buddha? He then went to the Buddha, exchanged pleasantries with him, and said, please accept tomorrow's meal from me together with the Sangha of monks. The Buddha consented by remaining silent. Knowing that the Buddha had consented, the Brahmin left. Okay, the fresh sesame seed and fresh honey, that is another topic. Let us look at this one first. So basically, for the monastic member, we should not pick up anything, whether it is belong to, there's an owner or no owner. Basically, you should not pick up anything because that is not belongs to you. But on this occasion, the Buddha allowed the monk to pick up the fruits from the ground and carry with them. And where there's a attendant, let them get them offered to you, and you can consume it. Yeah. Okay. I want to look at the part of number 9 about human flesh, about the monk eating the human flesh. Okay, here. Discussion of the prohibition against human flesh. When the Buddha had stayed at Rajagaha for as long as he liked, he set out wandering towards Benares. When he eventually arrived, he stayed in the deer park at Isipatana. At that time in Benares, there were two lay flowers, Suppiya and Suppiya, husband and wife. So Suppiya is for male in Pali. Suppiya, long R, is for female. So they are husband and wife, same name. Both with confidence in Buddhism. They were donors and benefactors, and they attended on the Sangha. On one occasion, Suppiya went to the monastery. She walked from dwelling to dwelling, from yard to yard, asking the monks, "Is anyone sick? What may I bring?" It's like what just now Mima was asking. Is it would be helpful to ask the monk, in the airport when she met them if they need anything? Yeah. Just then, a certain monk had drunk a purgative. He told Suppiya about this, adding, "I need meat broth." "No problem," Suppiya said. The wife said, "No problem, I'll organize it." She then returned to her house and told a servant, "Go and get some meat." Saying, "Yes, madam," he walked around the whole of Benares, but could not find any. So she returned to Suppiya and said, "There's no meat, madam. There's no slaughter today." Suppiya thought, if that monk doesn't get meat broth, his illness will get worse and he will die. Because I've already agreed to provide it, it would not be right if I didn't. She then took a knife, cut flesh from her own thigh, and gave it to a slave, saying, "Prepare this meat and give it to the sick monk in such and such a dwelling. If anyone asks for me, tell them I'm sick." She then wrapped her thigh in her upper robe, entered her bedroom, and lay down on the bed. When the husband returned home, he asked the slave where his wife was. The slave told him. He then went to see her, and she told him what had happened. He thought, "It's astonishing and amazing how much faith and confidence Suppiya has. In that she gave up even her own flesh. Is there anything she would not give?" Delighted and joyful, he went to the Buddha. He bowed, sat down, and said, "Venerable sir, please accept tomorrow's meal from me together with the Sangha of monks." The Buddha consented by remaining silent. Knowing that the Buddha had consented, Suppiya got up from his seat, bowed down, circumambulated the Buddha with his right side towards him, and left. The following morning, Suppiya had various kinds of fine food prepared. He then had the Buddha informed the meal was ready. So after the meal, the Buddha asked Suppiya, "Where is the wife?" Then he replied, "She was sick." "Well then, please tell her to come. The Buddha wants to see her." The moment Suppiya saw the Buddha, that great wound healed and was perfectly covered with skin and hair, Suppiya, both husband and wife, exclaimed, "The great power and might of the Buddha is truly astonishing and amazing, delightful and joyful." Why? Because when the Suppiya went to see the Buddha, her great wound healed, recovered, and was perfectly covered with skin and hairs. So what the Buddha do now? Soon after, the Buddha had the Sangha gather and questioned the monks, "Who asked Suppiyas for meat?" The responsible monk told the Buddha, "Did you get the meat?" "I did, sir." "Did you eat?" "Yes." "Were you circumspect about it?" "No, sir." The Buddha rebuked him. "Foolish man, how can you eat meat without circumspection? You have eaten human flesh. This will affect people's confidence." After rebuking him, he gave a teaching and addressed the monks. "There are people who have faith and confidence, even to the point of giving up their own flesh. You shouldn't eat human flesh. If you do, you commit a serious offense. You should not eat flesh without being circumspect. If you do, you commit an offense of wrong conduct." You know, there's a text in Chinese, in Mahayana, that telling there was a king who likes to eat human flesh. Why? he always has his hunter hunt the wild animal for him. But one day, they serve him with a human flesh, and then he say, "Oh, this is the most delicious food that I ever had. What kind of meat it is? It is human flesh." So it is said that human flesh is the most delicious among all type of meat. And here the Buddha not allowed to take human flesh. Do you find it is beneficial? Otherwise, I think the devotees who are really, really poor, they might consider to offer their own flesh. What do you think? Daniel Shenki, you look very...
No, I think it's a fine prohibition. I think it should be easy to comply with.
Elaine, please.
I have some problems with my Mahayana Buddhism, but that's why I went to Theravada. I think if we really look at the Dharma, the early text, then we know better, hopefully. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. One thing here come to my mind. Yesterday was the anniversary of the Arhan Bhikkhuni Theri Mahapajapati enlightened day as Arahant. And I remember Ayat Tataloka was saying about some people got confusing because thought that the Venerable Arahant Theri Mahapajapati are not enlightened yet. Because in the Lotus Sutra, in the Mahayana mentioned that Mahapajapati still need to practice further for the Buddhahood attainment. Yeah. And Ayati was hoping that we can refer to the Pali text and clarify this part. So as to my knowledge from my previous study on the Mahayana text, the Lotus Sutra said, truly said about arahantship is not the final enlightenment. So what is should be aimed for, that generally in Mahayana is that you aim for the Buddhahood, but not the arahantship only. Yeah. And in the text saying about Mahapajapati Brahmachari need to further practice to attain the Buddhahood. Yeah, in the view of Mahayana. But anyhow, in Theravada, we want to free from the cycle of samsara, gain enlightenment. That in the text, always we see the Buddha advise us to attain the first fruit, the second fruit, the third fruit, and the fourth fruit, the arahantship, right? And here, just to clarify that, Mahapajapati Arahant Bhikkhuni Theri has attained the enlightenment, the free from this cycle rebirth, not coming anymore. Yeah, as an Arahant. Yeah, not to think about that she need further practice to free from this samsara. No more coming. Yeah. Okay. So here.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so besides that, the Buddha also considered about the society, and that when he laid down any role, besides for the benefits for the sake of the Sangha, for the discipline, for the practice, for the balance of not being indulged and not torturing oneself, because he find that the 6 years of austerity practice doesn't help him to reach Nibbana even. So then comes this Samhita path in how to nourish the body for keep on the practice. Here in section number 10, here we can see the discussion of the prohibition against elephant meat. And this prohibition is concerned with the society. Sometimes the Buddha also listen to the society, to the lay people. They come to the Buddha and they might have a comment on the Buddha. How come your monk, when they eating, not in a good manner? It looks like and Chinese say like hungry ghosts. Yeah. Then the Buddha laid down the rule, just like the Sakya rule, that we have 75 Sakya rule, very much talking about the manner of eating, walking, standing, sitting. That's a very basic thing in a proper manner. This was laid down because of the lay people comment to the Buddha. Yeah, let's see. At one time, the king's elephant had died. Because there was a shortage of food, people ate the elephant meat. They also gave elephant meat to monks who were working for alms. It's normal, right? When people have the only food is elephant meat, so they offer the elephant meat to monk. When the monk eat it, people complain and criticize them. How can the Sakyan monastic eat elephant meat? Elephants are an attribute of kingship. If the king knew, he would not be pleased with those monks. They told the Buddha. Then the Buddha said to the monk, you should not eat elephant meat. If you do, you commit an offense of wrong conduct. This is because people complain and criticize. Yeah. So the Buddha also laid down the rule, monks should not eat elephant meat. Then another time, the king horses had died. Because shortage of food, people eat the horse meat, and people offer to the monk. And when the monk eat, people complain and criticize them. How can the second monastic eat horse meat? Horse meat are the attribute of kingship. If the king knew, he would not be pleased with those monks. And then Buddha laid down another rule. The monks should not eat horse meat. If you do, you commit an offense of wrong conduct. So the same goes for dog meat, snake meat, lion meat. Okay, so the last one here, a bit different. Let me see. Okay, here about the lion meat and the tiger meat. On one occasion, the hunter killed a lion and ate the lion meat. They also give the lion meat to monks who were working for alms. After eating it, those monks returned to the wilderness, and because of the smell of the lion meat, lion attacked them. The next one, because of the smell of hyena meat, and the hyena attacked them. So because of that, the monk being attacked, the Buddha say you should not eat tiger meat, leopard meat, bear meat, or hyena meat. If you do, you commit an offense of wrong conduct. So this is interesting, you know. I came here, stay in the Hermitage for the first time after my ordination. Never have a chance to stay in the Hermitage with the Bhikkhuni Sangha in Malaysia, because we have only in Malaysia now 10 Bhikkhunis in the whole country, where no one is staying in the Hermitage, but rather in the city. So we do not have Hermitage for Bhikkhuni, but we have for Bhikkhu, but that's not suitable for us to stay with them. So here is the first time. And one time, someone in the kitchen tell me that they should not, the steward say they should not prepare the meat in the kitchen, but they will prepare it in Dhammadharini here, and then they will bring there to AB. I say, why? They say, because it was saying that by the venerable Bhikkhuni, when they smell, the animals, wild animals in the Hermitage smell, they might have fear and they might attack. They smell about the meat. Then I came to my mind about this rule that laid down. We have a bear in the Hermitage. The bear sometimes try to find some food from the dustbin. So things that they throw in the trash bin in the Hermitage, they need to lock it. The trash bin need to be locked so the bear would not, you know, busy with thoughts remaining. Yeah, and the bear have a strong smell, and if they come, they will come again and again to get food. Yeah. Okay, do you have any question before we leave? Another 2 minutes, perhaps? Yeah, Mima, please.
What kind of comes to mind for me is the ethics. Like there's a certain way if he's teaching by, it's like almost common sense to some extent, but how he says you commit an offense of wrong conduct, which isn't like a law, but it's more like an ethics, like a good conscience to not do harm, to eat clean, to not gore, like to hoard. It just like that's what kind of comes to me very subtly, like the guidance that he provided to lead a good life, a clean life.
Yes.
And it's very touching how he did that. Thank you, Aya.
Right, thank you. It's also another text that Buddha teach the Sangha member, just like teaching a child when I read it, he teach, how should you sleep? Clean the room, clean your kuti before you leave. You should first bring out the mattress and how you should clean it. You clean the window and first you clean from very much inside and then you sleep slowly to the outside. Oh, very detailed. I said like teaching the kids how you should do it properly. Like Elaine, please.
Intention also comes to mind, that you have to look at the intention. If it's to keep somebody alive, but still no human meat, the smell of meat is not good.
Yeah. We try, definitely no human meat. And as a monastic member, not like the lay people that I would say you have much choice what you want to consume, what you want to feed to the body. As a monastic member, so we should receive whatever people offer, whether it's meat or non-meat. Then we have a choice if we don't want to eat any meat. Yeah. And to lay people, you have much freedom because you purchase it yourself. Yeah. Okay. How about let me see. I think there's something in the chat room. Okay, good. Right. Okay. Let us recite with may the teaching of the Buddha last long for the benefits of everyone here and all the beings, seen or unseen around us and to the world, because you all are here, we're discussing about the Dhamma Vinaya that not only develop ourselves, not only give a good direction and guidance for us how we should live our life for the sake of oneself and others, but by listening to it and apply it and take a consideration from the teaching to adjust our life that also bring benefits to the others. Not only that, but also to those, the unseen beings around us where they do not have chance anymore at the moment for the realm that they are living now. So by the merits that you have accumulated now for yourself and on what you are going to adjust in your practice for battle and growth, that also we can see the much merit in the coming, that hope that you will share with the unseen being around and with the protective favor around. May they rejoice in your merits and in your practice and protecting the Dhamma. Buddha desanam chiram titatu. Buddha desanam chiram titatu. Buddha desanam chiram titatu. If you would like to share your memories with those or the beings, please say after me, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you so much. See you in the future. Take care. Have a nice day, everyone.